Hey, this is Judah from SceneForge Studio, and this is a update video to version 0.2.2. It's relatively minor as opposed to the previous release, but it has two main things that I think will improve your SceneForge workflow. And those two things are as follows. So the first thing is the windows, these movable windows, such as the viewfinder as well as the material changer, for example, now operate so much better. They are fundamentally different behind the scenes, and the most notable changes is one, that your cursor will change depending on what's going on. So for example, if I move my cursor over the title bar, we get this nice movement arrow. And if I move my cursor over the edges and corners, we get the resize arrows as well. And what that means is that you can, of course, resize these windows on all four sides and corners, which just makes them operate much more in line with how you'd expect when working with an operating system. So we're very happy with that. They're also so much faster, they're much snappier, and they don't lag behind your mouse as much. And it just overall makes things work a little smoother. I'm very happy with that, and I hope you will be too. The next thing, the more important thing arguably, is the focus, the depth of field system in SceneForge. So previously there was an issue where the aperture scale or the f-stop scale was reversed. So higher values had more out of focus and reverse and so on and so forth. It was kind of a nightmare to work with. And then after that was fixed, the solution was kind of to just tone down the system overall. So sometimes it was even barely noticeable. It wasn't a very good situation. So now that is fixed completely. So now you'll see our aperture values are much more in line with how you'd expect a real camera to operate. So you can get really nice bokeh in extreme situations like f0.7, but in something a little more realistic, it still looks really nice. And these all get affected by the focal length, of course the focus distance and aperture, and if you go over here, you can adjust the sensor size, and that has a direct impact as well. So the interesting trade-off is that these values are not as physically accurate to real cameras as they were in the past, but they can be adjusted in a way that's more familiar with those working with real cameras. It's just overall a better trade-off, I think, allows you to get more creative looking shots with the bokeh and things like that, that just make working with SceneForge so much more enjoyable. Another cool thing is that the autofocus was dramatically improved as well. So if I bring the focus distance all the way down to 0, now it will smoothly blend between whatever's in the center of the frame. So you can see over here, move over here, and so on and so forth. It's a much better system. It works much cleaner. It looks really nice. And that's all being done automatically. Of course, you can still adjust it manually. And you can still right-click to tap to focus, essentially. You can also shift right-click to lock focus. So now the focus distance will update depending on where the focused object is, and so on and so forth. It's just a much better system overall. Additionally, we added this really cool debug mode, which essentially visualizes your focal plane on a scale of black to white. So if I were to hold down the tilde key, or the backtick key, so that's under your escape key and next to 1 on the keyboard, you get this. This only happens when it's held down, and it's like a debug visualizer. So now everything that is black is fully in focus, and everything that is white is out of focus, and of course everything in between. So you can see here as I adjust it, these values change. So it might not be useful in all situations, but in cases in which the lighting makes it hard to tell, or you just want a more black and white way of seeing things, no pun intended, then this is definitely a good feature for you. It's very useful to have, but of course, if you don't want to use it, you don't have to. If you want to lock the debug mode so you can see it in stage mode, all you have to do is hold it down, switch to stage mode, then release, and now you can see your debug plane in stage mode as well. So as you adjust your scene, you can see the values changing in our little viewfinder here. Then if I go to shoot mode, it unlocks and it operates with the key again. So that is basically everything in version 0.2.2. Hopefully those two things will improve the way you use SceneForge and make your life a little bit easier. In the future, these are all preparing for the full suite of virtual production tools coming in the future, the near future, and I hope you enjoy. If you are interested and you don't already have an account, you can get started completely for free at sceneforge.app. Super easy, fun, and affordable to get started completely for free. And I will see you in the next one.